Welcome to Chicago Basin. Laura and I have camped out here for part of the 14ers project to photograph 4 of the tallest mountains in Colorado. Here's how it went. From our home in Dillon, Colorado, we loaded up our backpacking gear and drove about 5 hours south to the town of Durango. Along the way, we saw some ominous-looking clouds that were shrouding the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Hopefully these clouds play nice when we're up in the basin. The next morning, we hopped on the Durango to Silverton train. We're going to be getting off about halfway between the two towns in order to access the Chicago Basin Trail. The train runs along a narrow valley which gave us some incredible views. Getting dropped off literally in the middle of nowhere was a bit intimidating, but thankfully we weren't exactly alone. We did get the overwhelming feeling that the real adventure was about to start. The Chicago Basin Trail is about 6 to 7 miles long depending on where you want to camp, and it starts off really nice and flat with this lovely bridge crossing and about a half mile of easy trail before the serious upward progress begins. Here we're about 2 miles in, enjoying this gorgeous forest, but we can see the sky is starting to get dark. Around 3 miles in, we decided to put our rain gear on to be safe, and it's a good thing we did. It rained constantly for the next few miles, and it was so heavy that even the trails were flooded in the flat areas, and the creek crossings were about twice as full as they would usually be. But once we were in the basin, we were rewarded with some incredible views. Oh, I don't even know what to say. Does that say it enough? It rained so hard. From like mile 4, we hiked about 7 miles up. From about mile 4 through 3, it poured rain. And we set our tent up in the rain. We have like a little rain fly, but... Here, look outside. Look outside. It's awful. So that's where we're camping. We're up near the 14ers. The forecast for tonight looks horrible. I don't think there's going to be any stars going on tonight. Hopefully in the next few nights. Everything we have is wet. We had like good covers over our bag and everything. And I think just anytime we set our bag down, stuff got wet. Clothes are everything's damp. How are you?
Freezing.
We are camping tonight at just under 11,500 feet, and we're surrounded by 4 14ers. We were hunkered in there, cold, wet, and not very happy with life, but seems like the weather has let up a little bit, at least for this evening. We got dry clothes on, we got some warm bellies, and now we can show you guys a little bit about what we got going on here. So our camp is right there, and the sunlight sitting just above it. But if we pan on over this way, we have a view of Elos. And I think this is kind of a false summit. I think like that ridge up there continues on to get to the real peak. So I don't really want to shoot it from here. I'm probably going to climb, oh, it's hard to see, but up into these trees is an area called Columbine Pass. So we're probably gonna have to climb up there to shoot the mountains back behind me. So there, Elos has the main peak, which is just behind here, and then North Elos. It's one of those, the 14ers, if you count 58 of them, because it doesn't have 300 feet of elevation gain between the saddle and the main peak. So if you count that as a 14er, I have to go shoot it. But if you don't, then you don't. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. Heading just down the trail, this is where we go. We'll be like getting our water for cooking and cleaning up dishes a little bit. Regulations are that we have to be 100 feet away from any water to set up our camp, so we definitely headed up the hill a little bit. But the nicest thing about this is that you get this little waterfall right here that's going to be giving us like perfect waterfall noises all night, and I love sleeping by running water. So we're in a way better mood than yesterday. We are dry, we are warm, actually ended up having a really nice night sleeping. Ready for at least some adventures. Now, the one thing we can't control is the weather, and the weather soaked everything it could yesterday. So what are your plans for today?
I have pretty much all of our wet things laid out on rocks in the sunshine. And I think my plan is just to try and get everything as dry as possible before we get more weather, because the forecast looks weathery.
Yeah, there's some clouds moving in, but I think I have time to head up to Twin Lakes. From Twin Lakes, we should have a nice view of all 4 peaks, hopefully. So I want to shoot there at night if we get a clear night, but I don't want to show up blind in the dark, so gonna maybe grab Joe if he's feeling up to it and run up there. So that is what we're doing today.
Thought it would be fun to do a little video with the best audio possible. So I headed down from the lakes. I didn't really hang out there very long. I'm glad I did, even though it looks like the rain might just miss me. We still have a really good plan for if it ever clears up. From that viewpoint, we could see Sunlight, Wyndham, and Elias. And I think it would be a really nice spot. I'm in heaven up here. I don't know if you can see, but there's gorgeous flowers back there, lots of running water, mountain goats, marmots, pikas. This is really fun.
Pay attention to how many different ways I pronounce that mountain. Elias? Elos? Eolos? I don't even know how many syllables it has. But just look at where we are. Yep, this is heaven. Yoo-hoo! And I am excited about walking down this stuff at night. So my plan would be to hike up at like dusk, maybe 8 o'clock or so, and then shoot as soon as it's dark enough, so about 10 o'clock, 9:30 even, and then get what I need to get and then come down. It's just funny because coming down, while it's less tiring, it's also technically more difficult. So the other option is to just stay up there all night, and I don't want to do that. I love my bed so much. This Big Agnes sleeping pad is just a dream come true.
Aeolus. Aeolus? I think I'm gonna go with Aeolus or just Mountain E. Cause Peak E. Cause I am sick of butchering that mountain. And it's the sort of name that it seems like it was named for somebody. So I'm just butchering that person's name. So yeah, we might just go with Mount E.
Our weird friend Joe just showed up and decided to head up one of the 14ers right now. So it's about 7 o'clock, and we think if we go pretty quick, we can be on the summit as soon as the stars are like really popping and shoot some really cool photos from the top. The only thing is, about an hour ago, that was pretty blue sky. And now you can see these clouds have rolled in, so we're kind of just hoping for the best, hoping that clouds roll away and we'll have a nice night up there. Well, never mind. I was just telling you guys that weird friend Joe was going to take me up the mountain in the middle of the night, and we were all ready to go. When he suggested it, it was probably 30% blue sky. And when I made the video, it was like 5% blue sky, and now it's hailing. As soon as I put my contacts in, got all my snacks packed, got my camera gear packed, Joe comes up with his weird big pole I hope you see at some point when we get to actually do something. And we're looking over the ridge and we can just see this monster storm pouring in and over. And
The clouds were moving so fast.
So we decided not to go just in case, even though it might not rain. And now it's hailing. Ah! Good morning. That was one of the worst storms we've had so far. So we have a decent rain cover on our tent, and it covers a lot of it, but still it was hailing so hard. It was rolling off of here, puddling and bouncing back up into us. So last night was really fun. And so Joe and I are gonna head up and we're gonna climb 2 peaks. We're gonna get Wyndham and Sunlight peaks. As far as the astrophotography stuff goes, we've seen 3 stars since we got in here. So 2 nights down, 2 nights of no photos. Hopefully the next 2 nights, the forecast before we left was clear. More clear, not really clear, but partly cloudy. And I'll take partly cloudy at this point. All right, time to go up there. People use the term emotional roller coaster, and it's kind of annoying, but that's absolutely what yesterday was. Yesterday was our 3rd day, so we spent 2 nights, and we've been trying so hard to get the photos of the stars, and we have good plans in place, but just it's been such awful weather. I headed up Sunlight Peak, which is one of the 14ers here, with my buddy Joe, and had a really nice climb, made the summit, really gorgeous, good time. As we were heading down, the weather got a little rougher, and we thought that we should head back to camp for sure. And once we got down here, the sun was out kind of like it is right now. So yeah, that was a really nice high. I laid out some of my pajamas to air out, and it was a good afternoon. We decided to go up on a little hike up Columbine Pass to check out what there is up there. And as we got up there, the weather just absolutely changed. It socked in super heavy rain. Thankfully, there was this old abandoned mine that we could run into for shelter, but it drenched everything. It drenched us. It rained so hard that it was bouncing off the ground and up underneath our tent. So my sleeping bag was wet. My pajamas that I laid out was wet. I was wet. It looked like it would be the 3rd night in a row of impossible stars. And yeah, that was definitely the dip on that roller coaster. Not being able to accomplish the mission. We were even having a conversation about how do we get back here next year to try to finish it. I found an interesting composition up at the mine that I might want to try for Aeolus. It was about 9 o'clock. It was super dusk. It stopped raining and the sky kind of opened up. There was a few patches of stars. So I'm I want to go to bed, but I have to try to make something happen. So I decided to pack my gear and head up to the mine, which is that way. And as I'm heading up, I see Antares and Scorpio and part of the Milky Way, and I can see the clouds are just lifting fantastically. So without any video equipment, I decided to head up to where you guys saw before, that hike up to the lake where I was scouting out. One thing I learned with Joe is that all of that scouting was wrong. The mountain I thought was Windham was Jupiter. The mountain I thought was Sunlight was like a sunlight spire. So thankfully I had just been up there the day before and scouted it out, so I had good locations. And it ended up being an absolutely perfect night. I was not expecting that, but the clouds cleared up. I was able to photograph all 3 of the main 14ers and North Aeolus. I still don't know how to say it. I was able to photograph everything, and it turned out to be just a perfect night. I'm exhausted. This morning I just woke up and watched Laura make coffee because I was too tired to get out and help with anything. But it all worked out. And now with the sun out, I was able to dry everything. So tonight's gonna be super cozy, super warm, and stress-free because I got the project done. I might still head up to the mine or shoot whatever that one is, Windham, from the campsite, but yeah, we're good. It went from like the highest high, literally being 14,000 feet up, the lowest low, wet, cold, and grumpy, to a perfect night of photography. I ended up climbing up to like 13,000 feet to get some of these shots. So yeah, I'm exhausted. The hike up to the lake is horrible. Just the most annoying stair-stepping, awful hike, but worth it. Got everything done, and now we can relax. So it is such a good thing I was able to get all 4 peaks. When I was up there, the extra hike up to photograph Windham was like, I can shoot that one from camp. I don't need to go up there. But I forced myself up, and it's a good thing because it rained all night long. There was no opportunity to get any sort of photographs today or last night. But we are finished. The job is done. It is time to pack up camp, try to dry things off a little bit, and go meet a train. The sun's gonna be out here in just a moment. We're gonna get all nice and toasty and hike on out of here. It's been an incredible trip, definitely challenging, ups and downs and more than just elevation for sure, but we got our photos done and that's all that really matters. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. We're gonna end this with a little bit of the hike out and some train action, so stay tuned for that. But please, if you can, give me the thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this one. All of the prints that you saw in this video are going to be available for purchase on my print website, and you can follow Cosmic Colorado on Instagram to see all of the photos I'm getting. And thank you guys so much for coming along.